But anyhow, so thank you again, Jeremy, for coming on, mate. And let's talk about Adepticon because you set up a very successful tournament with a number of people who attended, and you played a narrative event, and you played 400 point tournament event as well on 2 days. So tell us all about it, mate. How did it go?
It went fairly well. The tournament was only one day. It was a 3 round event. Basically it was scheduled out for 4 rounds. And I wanted to have I wanted to have a baseline event where it was like everyone would theoretically be familiar with the basic rule set, which is why we went with 3.5. Um, and then I selected I selected what the missions that we would be playing from the last UK Order of the Red Dragon packet. And it was I think we had a fairly good cross section of area control and scenario specific events. I wanted to make sure, and I talked about this a lot when I was working on it. I wanted to make sure that there wasn't anything where it's like, okay, so this scenario requires this many scenario elements where it's specific to this, where it's just like, okay, well, go ahead and put a playing card on the table, because it was like, why would you have all of these beautiful miniatures and then you're just like, here's a playing card, go to town. So in some cases there were certain scenario elements where I was looking at them and I'm like, I'm not going to be able to get that many scenario elements of that type painted for potentially 8 tables worth of people. So like 3 bridges, which requires 4 feet of table or 4 feet of river and 3 bridges, and then 2 forwards for every table. So that's basically 6 very specific scenario elements. I looked at that one and I'm like, 3 bridges is going to be out, because that is way more than I'm going to be able to do, because I didn't want to do 32 feet of river
Mm.
and then another 24 bridges and
Yeah.
then another 16 forwards.
Yeah.
So that was one of the selection issues. I did end up doing Arclush Pigeon because I love that scenario. It's absolutely ridiculous.
I can tell. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I wanted to do that one. I did do Border Wars because I think that's a really interesting one, and it gives you the opportunity to have like there are certain scenarios where it's just like, okay, these are all, you know area control scenarios, so you can't really have like highly focused, um like highly compact armies in really wide scenarios where you've got to do area control, because it's just like that doesn't work, because it's like, all right, I'm going to go over here on turn 1, the game is 6 turns long, I can't contest the rest of the table because I'm over here doing whatever I'm doing. So I wanted to have a variety of scenarios, and I think I hit a fairly reasonable balance with that. um and I was able to put stuff on the table for scenario elements for all of them, and it looked good in my opinion. I mean, I'll toot my own horn. And once again, I would never have been able to get all of that stuff on the table without the help from Nathaniel, without some help from John, without some help from Jordan, and without the help of my lovely wife. She saved my bacon when Reaper was like, "We're going to take forever and a day to send you the toppers for some of these elements," and she was like, "No, no, I got this. Studio arts background."
Nice work.
So
That's great. Yeah.
having an artistic wife who understands your hobbies, completely recommend.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it, mate. Good work. That's fantastic. So how many people actually turned
Um,
up on the day?
so we had 8 people for the narrative, which maxed it out, and then we had 8 people for the tournament. The tournament, I had initially signed up for 16 slots. We had 8 participants, so we did 3 rounds. We did Swiss pairings, so it was basically at the end of 3 rounds, whoever was undefeated was first place, and then using the tiebreakers for UK chord is how we determine second and third place. I'm not like 100% sure that I'm like super on board for that, but I haven't played a lot of. I have never actually played any events using UK chord, so I can't say, oh yeah, this is a great system. No, this is a terrible system. Based on, I will say this: nobody who, the people who got second and third place, all finished 2-1. So it wasn't one of those things where it was like, wait a minute, how did somebody who went 1 and 2 get second place? So I was happy that at least that worked out.
Yeah, nice, mate. That's great.
But it wasn't one of those things where like somebody got horribly screwed by strength of schedule.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. That's good. Well, that's a good turnout. So 16 players all up for both events. Now, the narrative event, that seemed the most interesting to me. How did that all go down, mate? Because you designed all these scenarios yourself and that kind of thing.
That was there were things that worked out really, really well, and there were things that did not work out well. One of the things that running the narrative event, because I basically had 6 different scenarios. I realized that the assumptions about how I play the game and how people in my play group play the game don't necessarily hold up for how everybody else plays the game. And in some cases, that's fine. In other cases, it caused some weird results. There was one scenario that I thought was kind of like, I designed most of the scenarios to be fairly even up. There was one scenario that I thought was going to be a complete coin flip where it could go either way, and then, and I'm trying not to call anybody out or make anybody feel bad, but one of the players took a tack that I completely did not understand, because it was his scenario objectives were very much spelled out, where I was like, all right, this is what you need to do. And then he was like, I'm just going to land in the center of the table and punch stuff as hard as I can. And it's like, I mean, that's a thing you can do. And if you're having fun, hey, more power to you. That is very specifically not what the scenario objectives for your side are. But you get in there and in the middle of the table and you punch the crap out of as much stuff as you want and you have fun.
Yeah.
So that happened, and it was like, all right, well, I mean, did the players have fun? Yes. All right. Then there we go. The one thing that kind of saddened me was I had spent a lot of time working on the 8-player mega battle, and then we were playtesting it a couple weeks out from the event, and it was like, oh no. This game slows down to a glacial pace when you get 8 people around the table playing. Yeah. And I mean, we were testing it initially with 4 people just to see. It's like, all right, can we get this to run the way it's supposed to run with 4 people? And then the first pass, it didn't work, and it was like, all right, maybe it's too many people. Maybe that's what the problem is. So Jordan and I sat down and we played it, and it was just he and I, and we were both playing 4 armies, and that didn't work. And it's like, we were playing fairly quickly, and it was still like, we know what the armies do, we know what the abilities are, we know how everything works, we're familiar with this. Jordan helped me, kind of write up some of the armies, and it still took us both 2.5 hours to get through a turn and a half.
Wow.
Which, when that's the second half of an event, is not really, that's not really viable. Yes. So what we had to end up doing was we split the last round. Instead of being an 8-person mega battle, we split it into 2 4-person battles. And I think it mostly worked out fairly well. One of the battles ended up swinging back and forth really well, and it was, one side was up and then another side was up, and then but it was one of those things, because it was so back and forth. There was an inflection point in the game where it was just like, okay, this is a thing that's happened. This game is just going to go downhill one way, and I felt bad about that. It was narratively satisfying. It wasn't like it was like, okay, so this model died and then this side loses, da 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 da. So I mean, it felt satisfactory in terms of like, does the story that the battle is telling bear out the results? And it did, but it was also one of those things where it's tough to be. It's tough to play a game where it's like you can see that turns 4, 5, and 6 are essentially unnecessary because you won't be able to complete your objectives going forward.
Right.
And I'll be honest, I do not have enough of a background in game design to figure out how to get around that.
Yeah.
And just there it is. No one's paying me to run events. No one's paying me to write games, and that is fine because I am not qualified.
Good. Okay, mate. Well, at least you had to go at it. It's great, mate. You took on quite a lot for one person as an organizer, and to handle 2 different events with 16 people involved, and all the terrain and that kind of thing. It's quite a lot to take on, mate. Would you want to do it again?
Not really. I mean, all right. No. So hear me out. Okay. I'm glad that I got it done. I'm glad that I got there. I'm glad that I was able to put the event together and host it, and people were able to come out and play Confrontation and have fun. And it was great having the models on the table and having some people come around and be like, oh man, I remember this game. This is great. I'm glad to see that people are still playing it. That I absolutely categorically loved. And I'm gonna take a moment to say thank you very much to Simon Berman from Brush Painters Union for coming out and helping judge the painting competition. And congrats to all of our winners, Zach and Nathaniel, and third person whose name I have forgotten, which is Steven. So I have not forgotten. So Zach, Nathaniel, and Steven were our first, second, and third place winners in that order for painting. And I was really pleased that that Simon was able to come over and take a look at the stuff, because Simon, he's worked for a couple of different game companies, so he's seen pretty miniatures before, and he was, he had some really great stuff, some really positive feedback to say about what was being produced and what was put down, and that was fun to hear.
That's good, mate.
So
nice.
But as far as it goes, I don't. The logistics of it were kind of a pain, and there was the pressure of, what if nobody shows up? What if too many people show up? What am I going to do? And what if I don't have enough terrain? And I ended up bringing way more terrain than was actually needed.
Yeah.
And it's fine. I mean, I decided to do this because of all of the people in the Confrontation community. I'm the one local to Chicago, so I'm in Adepticon, and it was, or I'm close enough to Adepticon that, reasonably the logistics make sense for me to do it.
Yeah.
I was able to do it. I would certainly be willing to provide, to bring the terrain that I got, and it's ready to go for subsequent years. But I didn't get to play a single game. All of my Confrontation time for Adepticon was playtesting the scenarios in advance and just kind of making sure that everybody else got to play, which is great. I was happy to be able to do that. But in terms of, did I get to have fun playing Confrontation and Adepticon? I didn't, but I was glad that I had the opportunity to make that happen for other people. But there are a couple of people, who said, hey, they'd be willing to step up an event, run events next year. And I'm not going to be like, no, this is my thing, because it's not. It really isn't. The terrain is mine, but it's not my game. if other people want to step up and run, I I I welcome it because I'd love the chance to play. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, man. Yeah.
at the end of the day, I am a player more than an organizer, more than a painter, more than a hobbyist. I like playing games.
Yeah. Me too, mate. That's cool. Okay, great. Well, hopefully someone will take up the mantle and run a even if it's like a round robin thing, like if the guys just come together and you just play a series of games with other people, and there's no sort of tournament format. It's just like let's play games and just and let's just enjoy that moment. And people will just walk up and say, "Oh wow," like you said, like, "Oh cool, it's great to see people playing Confrontation." And of course, I've got my Confrontation Continuum background here on the Zoom meeting today because Kyle was there to show off the game and the miniatures and some mechanics of the system, and had this beautiful flyer made up for people attending the event. Were you able to go past to see Kyle to have a look at it on the day?
I missed like he was going for like 2.5 hours. I missed like the first hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes,
Mm.
because after I finished running the event, I was like, I need food, because I am absolutely terrible when it comes. Con Brain and I are old friends where it's just like, okay, I'm going to focus on this event. It water, food, biological needs. There's gaming to be done. All of that stuff can be pushed off to the side. And then when 6 o'clock hit and the event was over, I was just like, I'm going to something, something, something now. And my wife, God bless her, was like, we should go get food
Yeah.
and you should sit down and maybe have a stiff drink. And I was like, you are 100% correct. And so we went out and we got dinner at a place, and then had a chance to kind of sit down and breathe and just kind of
Take it all
take
in.
in
Yeah.
things being successful, take
Yep.
in things having been completed and having gone fairly well. And then I super wanted to check out what Kyle was doing with Continuum, but I needed food. And then I got back, and like I said, he had about like 25, 35 minutes left. So I had missed a bunch of stuff, but we talked a little bit. I think that there's some super interesting stuff there. Um, and I'm excited to see the rules when he makes them available, when he publishes them.
Mhm.
Um, I couldn't I could not make an authoritative or reasonable statement on what I feel like the game is like
Yeah.
because I missed most of the demo.
No, that's cool. Okay. Well, that's fine, mate. Looks like Continuum's going to be, yeah, coming to Adepticon again, maybe in its full entirety, like actually have a rule book and that kind of thing for people to actually pick up and buy at the day. But again, I can't really say if that's going to become true or not because I know it's getting very close now. It's just getting the right people to get the book up and ready and designed and launched basically, as far as Kyle has told me. So yeah, we can always look forward to that. But yeah, mate, look, I just wanted to get you on to say thank you again for running the event. I think it's really important that people start, doing this in their local areas, not just at Adepticon, but just anywhere locally, wherever they live. If they've got a group of people who are interested in playing, yeah, organize something. Doesn't have to be a tournament. Just get together and play. Get so people can actually see the game being played. And I always get remarks, and maybe you too, that people say, yeah, I sort of came late to Confrontation, saw the miniatures, they were really cool, but I never saw what the game was like. And they might be interested in picking it up, giving it a go, playing a 200-point AP game, you know, playing a nice little narrative, one of those little scenarios you made up, or something like that, just so they get the feel and flavor of the system. And that's it, get some miniatures and away you go.
Yep. I mean, I was trying to kind of keep some of the momentum going after Adepticon, and just it we couldn't get everybody together for a schedule. But July 22nd, which is 2 weeks from now, I know for all of the people who are playing Confrontation in Chicago, you guys should come out to Games Plus on July 22nd and play Confrontation. But I'm pretty sure most of the people who are going to be there will hear me saying this on your podcast right now.
Okay, man, that sounds good. All right, so there is something organized, yeah? Great.
Yeah, I mean it's not it's basically just kind of come out and play some games. It's not, it's not an event or anything like it.
Yeah.
It's not like an event. It's just, hey, this is a day that we're putting on the calendar to play some Confrontation so we can get some people out. I am trying to finish up a goofy Cadwallon army. I've got 4-ish miniatures for that. And hopefully I can get those done in time. So, that'll be another ridiculous faction that I have ready to go, loaded in the chamber.
Awesome. That sounds good, mate. So that's great. So that's good. That's good positive thing. And I hopefully we'll see, more content on your channel in the next few months, with some videos of you and John or other guys playing either some of the narrative scenarios you made for the event, which would be quite cool, or just games you're going to play, and maybe bring some mystics or magic to your scenarios at some point.
Mystics. Spells overrated. Pshaw. All you need is fighting and shooting. That's it. There was certainly in Confrontation Second Edition, there was certainly never a rule book written specifically for magic or specifically for faith. It's all rumors.
Just make that sort of pre-game, agreement with your opponent. I'll just meet you in the center, mate, and I'll just beat the shit out of you when you get there, sort of thing. That's all you need, really, isn't it, for Confrontation?
No. I mean,
I'll hit you and you hit me. Whoever survives wins, basically.
No. It's whoever rolls the least amount of ones wins.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's all good fun, mate. It's all good fun for us
Yes, it is.
For our small community that we are, but it's good. We're enjoying the time we have with Confrontation. So, Jeremy, thanks again, mate, for your time today. I really appreciate that, and I wish you all the best in your Confrontation endeavors for the future, my good sir.
All right, sir. Thank you very much.
No problem, mate.
Pleasure as always.
Okay, and have a great time at your event. Now, your event is in Chicago. Is it?
All right. It's in Mount Prospect at Games Plus, which is. It's in Chicago the same way Adepticon is in Chicago, where it's a suburb of Chicago. But yeah, I mean, I recorded a goofy promo for it, a la like a monster truck rally. And I posted it to the Discord, and no one touched it, as well they shouldn't, because it makes me sound like a lunatic, which is
I'll
fine.
definitely listen to that for sure. I missed that one.
But yeah, so I think it's going to be fun. We're going to have, I want to say, 5 or 6 people. So, right. It'll be the chance to get out there and for people to be like, oh, I remember this game.
Yeah,
and just be like, hey, check out this Discord, check out Confrontation Club. You can still play. Nobody's saying you can't.
Nope, that's right. It's still there, still living and breathing. Thanks to you guys. So that's good, mate. Excellent. Okay, well, have fun, and I look forward to more content on the End of the Wargaming channel very soon.
All right. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, buddy. Okay, bye-bye.